Okay, cool. So we just wrapped up an amazing interview. Let me set up the camera here with Zahaib inside Unlock Creators. This guy is amazing. We've been working together one on one, and I've been helping him for the past couple of months with his entire brand infrastructure and the ecosystem for his coaching business. And I just want to give you this quick brief because his niche and offer are so interesting, and not a lot of people actually do this. So Zahib is an imam, which is a Muslim priest. Hopefully I got that right. And he's a six-figure agency owner as well. Now, in the Muslim community, a lot of Muslims are not able to fully practice out their faith with corporate jobs. So Zahib is helping them with his coaching program to build an agency business model that gives them that freedom. And it's very interesting. And when we started working together, Zahib needed help with the entire structure, right? Like structuring his coaching program, structuring the content, structuring the entire ecosystem so that he's able to get people in. And in the past 4 weeks and a half, we're at 11K cash collected, and that is without any sales calls. So you're going to see from the interview, but our business model and the entire thing that we're building is we're positioning people as the number one most premium brands in the space that provides so much trust and so much context to the point where you don't even need to hop on sales calls with your clients because they're gonna sign on. They're gonna get in without you needing to do any begging, any convincing, and anything like that. So anyway, I'm gonna let you dive into the interview. It's gonna be an amazing conversation. And if you are an agency owner, if you're an expert in your industry, and you literally want to build the number one most premium brands in your space and charge premium prices, so we're talking even 5 figures for your offer, you know who to contact in terms of the branding. There's no one else in this space that's doing this. You guys are going to see from the interview. You got the link down below. My voice is literally cracking right now because I've been speaking for hours, but let's dive into the interview. Hello, brother. Thank you for being on here.
Happy to be on, brother.
How's it going? We've been talking about doing this for a while, so
Yeah, it's much overdue. I mean, crazy progress on my end, as you know, you're aware. I've been keeping in touch with you, all the small stuff, the big stuff. I know, man, it's growth-wise been crazy so far.
yeah, yes, sir, it has. So I just wanna let's start with your story because I think you're from the very first time we spoke, your story is very different and unique. You're not like the typical, obviously, guru and stuff with the agency space. So just paint the picture for people in terms of like your background, um, business wise and personal and everything that you wanna. I'm just gonna let you take the stage.
Sure. No, exactly like you said, right? It's a really different place where I'm coming from and where I was hoping to take what I've got going on. So background wise, I'm actually by education and everything that I've done is I am nothing related to business, right? I never went to college, really barely was getting by in school. And that's just really because I was never really involved in that side. I never felt a little bit more of an inclination towards getting a degree, getting a typical job and whatnot. So I went on and I became a preacher, or in Islamic wise, became an imam. Typically, so that was like a rigorous 6 year boarding school that I went on right after high school. And for me, it was like, hey, this is what I want to do, right? I want to learn my faith in order to give it back to my community and make this a means of what I want to do with my life. Money was never a question. It was never about, all right, how am I going to provide for myself? But yeah, that's basically what I thought was going to be my life. And I loved it. I enjoyed it. But again, money is a thing. Yeah, you gotta survive. You gotta have some way of, getting by, providing for yourself. I want to get married. I want to have kids. I want to have a family. All the stuff that every typical person wants to do. So this is where I started looking at online business models, which don't require money up front. I don't need a degree for it as well. I was willing to put in the work, whatever is required. And that's where my agency came about, right? So past about 5 years or so, I've been running a quite successful, alhamdulillah, praise to God, a six-figure agency. We do web design and marketing services for small businesses across our city, North America altogether. We've expanded over about 5 team members. We've done probably over 100 websites. Currently managing about 20, businesses on a month-to-month basis. But yeah, so that's been working very well for me. Now, the whole purpose behind that was to give back to my community. And a lot of people ask me this, hey, listen, you're an imam, you're so busy with that. How are you able to run an agency as successful as it is on the side, with a big question being not getting in with the faith, right? Not it being problematic, which was a really big thing for a lot of people, right? Because Islamic, we have certain guidelines which we gotta stick by. And it's not just with business or money, it's with everything that we do. I'm sure Andre, right? Halal and haram. When it comes to
Yeah.
food, we can't eat everything as well, right? Even when it comes to dressing, right? There's certain things that you can wear and not wear, what you say. So we've got a lot of guidelines, which we're happy to follow. But living in a Western world, it's tough to make that connection happen. And I found that way. So I just felt like, hey, part of me wanting to give back from the religious side, I just felt this need within me to give back to from the financial side as well, from what I've learned, my experience. And this is where I came about like, hey, coaching, right? Well, what could be a better way to do that? And came up with a plan, not as structured as, of course, what we had with you, Andre, of course, but it was something. And eventually, trial and error, it was working. I had some setbacks and everything like that. Structure was a big thing I was struggling with. Pricing, as you're aware, was a big issue for me as well. And time, right? Like I had a lot going on. Like the last thing I wanted to do was hop on sales calls and try to sell the program, which I knew is working for me as well. And discovered you, and then I guess the rest is history from there, then, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, totally. I mean, look, the from the very beginning when we started, I felt like the overall, like, you had so many things to balance, right, and to manage all at once. So that's why, like, my intention from the very beginning was to, you mentioned sales calls, and we're definitely going to dive into this, right? Because now you literally, for everyone watching, I'm not kidding, like, you literally got a sale the last time we were on a call. I posted this on my story as well. So it's like, that was my entire intention, is to build out that ecosystem and infrastructure for you so that you can sell without having to constantly, like, trade your time, which is a huge thing. Because for anyone, again, watching who might be an agency owner, like, it's not easy. Like, there's a lot of work involved. So cool. So I mean, the whole, I want to touch on a lot of things, the faith aspect, before we dive into the infrastructure of the business and everything. Have you seen, like, any, as a Muslim and as an imam, have you had any kind of, like, internal, I guess, like, conflict, like, I'm gonna make more money now, like, is that good or bad? Like, how was that for you on a mindset level? I'm just curious to know.
Yeah, from honestly from a mindset level, like I said, even without the coaching program, financially I was doing fine, right?
Yeah.
It was doing well, we're doing, 5-figure months, 6-figure years. That's not a problem. For me, it was really so time was my biggest value, right? That was my biggest asset. And this is something that I saw myself quite, transition wise when I went from being a full-time imam to a full-time agency owner was although I could give time back to my activities at the mosque. I love doing workshops, online courses, stuff like that. I was restricted, right? Because like you said, it's not easy running an agency. A lot of small, moving parts. You got tons of clients waiting for work, and you got team members delegating those tasks. So for me, it was like, listen, as much as I love doing what I do and as profitable as it is, I would love to have something which I can do on my own time, something which runs on itself. I love speaking to people. I love, teaching, mentoring. I think that just comes all from me being an imam. And it just tied down very similarly. It was very natural for me to go on to coaching. But yeah, time was the biggest thing. So for me to be able to run, a business, with your help, of course, where, like you said, it actually happened twice, Andre. We were on a call and I got a notification Stripe, and I was like, hey, there you go. That's another sale there. That was huge for me, right? Knowing that I've got everything set up. doesn't require me to actively be involved, and works out awesome. I've got a whole system in place now of what I need to do. I'm sure you're gonna touch upon this, but the level system is amazing. The school community that you helped me set up there, the lead, the stages that we've got going on, it just all felt so natural for me as running this, and even for people coming, my clients now who are taking onto the program was just amazing, just seamless transition from them learning about who I am, what I have to offer, and just getting them started right there. So that was the biggest takeaway from me in that transition.
Got it. And I told you, I feel like we're still barely scratching the surface. With like, we're gonna dive into a bit of like the content that you've been doing and stuff. But I'm curious from like your perspective to know like what was kind of like the paint the picture of like the biggest difference from like before, because you were obviously doing the coaching before versus now. Like what's kind of like the, obviously you're not taking on as many sales calls now, which is an amazing thing. But
Yeah, so I had it going, right? Like it was there, but it wasn't at its full potential. And I know, you see this vision a lot higher than I actually do, and there's more growth to this as well. But it was just the fact that I had all this knowledge, right? I had all this value to give. I just wasn't able to show that value, right? Nor was I able to put it into some sort of proper structure. So for example, I had a school community, but I wasn't using its tools for full potential. I was on social media, but my ICP wasn't, good. I know that's one of the very first things that we figured out exactly who we're targeting. I had a website, but again, the messaging was all over the place. So it was just a lot of trial and error on my behalf, which I was doing. But the effort that I was putting into getting the handful of clients that I did get, and the value that I got out of it and what they got out of it in return, it definitely needed work, right?
yeah.
So when I discovered you and saw your content, started talking to you, honestly, bro, if it wasn't for you, I don't think I truly recognized what I had and what I had to give. So that really changed everything. Like looking at it from like a whole different lens is what made it what it is today.
I really appreciate that because I think again for you, you have so much to give, but it was just a matter of like clarifying everything. I know the very first question, if I'm not wrong, that you asked me was like, should I niche down? Right? Like you had this sort of like question about like whether or not I should niche down to only like Muslims, right? So that was kind of like the beginning of it all.
It really was. See, the thing was, I thought I was already niching down with just Muslims in general, right? Because, you can only have so many, Muslims you can target, right? And then the niching down even further for me was a bit scary, right? I'll be honest here. Because it's not just we're just targeting Muslims now, we're actually target those who actually have a full-time job and they're willing to add an extra income. So it's like 2, 3 steps down the little niche tunnel that we've got going on here. So it was no doubt a little bit scary, but I think that was probably the one of the best decisions I've actually made, is because not only does it give me clarity to who to speak to, but I only want to bring in those people who fit this criteria, right? Who fall under this category. And that helps me relate to them. It helps me speak to them better and provide better value to them, and they know exactly what I'm looking for as well and what they can expect from me.
Yeah, totally. And now what would you say is kind of been the, because obviously we can talk numbers, which we're headed to like what the goal for us initially when we talked was 20,000 a month, right?
Yeah, yeah. It was 20,000 a month, which I thought was insane, right? I didn't ever expect we get there. But after I launched everything, the very first month, I know we did 10K right off the bat, right? The very first month we did that. And yeah, this month I think we're definitely heading over to that 20K mark already.
You're at 11 or what? Am I counting?
I'm at 11 in, yeah, 11 over about a month and 1 week. So I think as we pick up on that side, I think 20K isn't far.
Amazing. And what's, because obviously the business side and we're gonna get into the infrastructure is awesome, but I'm, as you know, like I'm big on mindset. I think most calls, the one-on-one calls, we touch on mindset as well. I'm not just like, spewing like hooks and like scripts. But what was the biggest, and I'm asking this because everyone, including myself in the past, like struggle with this. What was the biggest shift, like internally for you, ever since we started to allow yourself to charge what you feel like you're actually worth? Like, what was that moment when you were like, okay, finally, like I can charge this? Because I know we were talking about like, should I increase my prices? Should I? Now we're planning on doubling everything, and it's like I'm curious to know the kind of like thought process after we kind of like worked on everything.
Yeah, honestly, Andre, I think it really just came down to putting into it all prospectively, right? Like based off of the value you're giving and the tools you're setting your clients up for, what can they do with that? So I never looked at it from that side. I was looking at, all right, like for example, me being from the agency side, I really was really technical, of course. So the way I was looking at it was like, okay, you know what? Like I've got like this, my school is set up. I've got all these PDFs ready to go. I've got all these videos recorded. What value am I giving to them? That's the kind of the way I was looking at it.
Mm.
But what you made me realize is no, like what are they getting and what can they turn into that? So for example, when you would tell me like, listen, brother, if you teach someone, you give them access to this, and 6 months down the road, they can turn their investment, 5x or even 10x that is what's worth to them. So I think just that mindset, thinking about it from that way really changed everything. And, like our my members, my clients are getting those results, no doubt. Which the more I get into it, the more I realize that it's like, hey, listen, if they can double, triple their investment in the first month alone, then why shouldn't I be charging as much as I do then?
Got it. And like over, I'm curious over the for the remaining of this year. Where do you see us going with this? Because obviously I have like a really big vision. I want to help you become the number one guy in this space. Where I'm not gonna drop obviously any names, but I feel like there are a lot of gurus out there that do not take the product side of things, like building an actual amazing product. They do not take that part seriously. So where do you see your kind of like brands and especially with Muslim Marketing Mastery, the program, where do you see the vision for that? Like, do you want to go even like more premium, more into also the spiritual side as well? I know we were constantly talking about that. Like, what's kind of like the vision?
That will be huge, Andre. And again, that is something that, you made me realize that, me being an imam, having that religious knowledge as well is something I should definitely be tying in with what I have to give back. So I think just having some sort of like a community built out, where they're not only benefiting by making money, but also increasing their faith alongside with that, I think that would be amazing in terms of not only the value I can give out, but me personally, knowing that this is what I started my, so-called career in is, being an imam and giving to the community and teaching this religious knowledge that I have, uplifting on the spiritual side. If there's a way that we can come up, improve on the program where it ties in on both realms, that would be a dream come true, honestly.
Yeah, because again, I'm telling this like to everyone that I work with that is because everyone that I work with is essentially multi-dimensional. So it's not like you only have this side of you, like, oh, I'm just the agency owner guy. And I'm telling you now as well, it's like the more you bring to the table all of these different parts of you and sides of you, the more like premium you can and you will inevitably go. Because especially we were looking at your space and at your niche, especially in this space, like everyone is just focused on this side hustle type of thing. Like, here's the side hustle, I'm going to teach you how to do this, and that's it, right? But my intention, and I'm going to like share my screen so we can kind of like go through the entire ecosystem that you have. My intention is for you to bring those sides, those spiritual sides as well, because then the whole you were talking about the value exchange, right? Like clients pay you this, and then you give them. You can imagine you being an imam and actually giving them the knowledge on the spiritual side so they can improve their relationship, their faith. That is so much more value than just getting a couple of clients or even a lot of clients with the agency, if that makes sense. So I think there's a lot of potential in that as well.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. And like I said, I can definitely envision that happening soon. And I'm really excited to get us there.
Yeah, brother. I mean, again, it's literally just the beginning. People are gonna see in a sec here. Because on your YouTube channel, that's the number one thing with me is like on your YouTube channel, you only like posted a couple of videos, and we took off like crazy, which to me is just again the sign that everything is on like everything is on the right track. But cool. Let me just quickly share my screen in here because I think this is going to be super interesting. So let's dive into the ecosystem. So what's first of all, you got like the Instagram in here. What I want to really highlight for everyone watching, whether they're a business owner, especially in the agency space, can you confirm that followers and like going viral and just getting views for the sake of getting views does not really matter, like business
No,
wise?
not at all. I was like probably everyone else out there. I thought, hey, if I hit, I don't know, 10K followers, then maybe I'll start getting some traction, but no, not at all. Never.
Yeah. So first of all, the content that you're posting in here on Instagram, because we got Instagram and then we got YouTube. I want to quickly take a look at Instagram. What do you personally, because you know you're doing awesome videos with editing and stuff, what do you personally resonate with the most in terms of the content format? Is it the sort of like the free, free video like rants, whether it's on a spiritual or business level, or is it the more professional like edited videos? What do you resonate with the
Yeah.
most?
Yeah, so Andre, as you can see, I've gone all realms, right? I've done the professional editing. I had an editor hired and everything like that who was doing all the fancy stuff. And then eventually I realized like, hey, this doesn't mean anything, right? Whether a video for me gets 3,000 views or 500 views, I felt if I'm giving value by just talking with like a small, little text on top with just subtitles for me, if that is giving more value, that's something that I should stick with. So this in itself, like even these videos you're seeing in front of you, right? Just rant with a camera in front of me. Like I got so much feedback from a lot of my followers and people on my school community that, hey, listen, you know what? This really helped me out. The
Mm-hmm.
fancy stuff, I don't think I've ever gotten any type of feedback or any people's person telling me anything like that. So it really is about value-wise what you're giving out, where people get the most out of it, and they resonate with you as well, and see you as someone who is worth taking content from.
Got it. Because a huge thing that we're obviously doubling down on is building that type of content that addresses that specific ICP and therefore like building the trust for it. So this is like what we're going with essentially. Now, if we're diving into the YouTube, again, a confirmation that literally you're, I gotta be honest, like on YouTube, you're bigger than I am, right? Because it's like with only a couple of videos in, everything took off from the very first video. And as we can see here, is like the we're leveraging the what I'm trying to tell to everyone is like with YouTube, you have to take a look at what's currently popping in terms of like the titles, the thumbnails, the subject matter, and leverage that. And then on the back end, in the actual video, you bring in your unique angle and your unique value. What's the because I know with YouTube at the very beginning, very beginning when we started working together, you weren't really like accustomed to just the whole flow of like doing a YouTube video, writing the script, preparing outline. What was the biggest thing for you with YouTube? Was it like the coming up with title ideas or just the subject matter, outlines? I know editing is a huge thing that we're still kind of like talking about with YouTube. Is like you have a good tendency, by the way, to go like super professional with videos like this, but yeah, what was the biggest thing in terms of the YouTube so far for you, like on a mindset level?
Yeah, I mean, hey, Audrey, I was on YouTube before you, right? You were who pushed me to, hey, just get it going, right? And,
Mm-hmm.
for me, it was really big about just trusting your process that, hey, if he's telling me what it is, it's gotta be something. So just getting on YouTube was the biggest thing for me. I'm not like camera shy or anything like that. For me, it was like, okay, what am I gonna make a video about? So again, I was thinking more so from the technical side. I was like, okay, so I guess I'll make some website tutorials. I'll show how people to use these tools that I use myself, and you're like, no, or that's not what we're gonna do. It's just more so about just giving value based off of who I am, from my experience, my background, and how people can just take something out of it. So once I got over that hump, for me was again titles, right? What type of videos am I gonna do? And even this one that popped up there, which again I didn't expect it to, like 130K views now. Yeah, you came up with that title itself, right? And I know you told me to keep it as simple as I possibly can, but I tried to do a little bit of editing here and there, which I know doesn't mean anything, but the fact that I was able to get this out, and just get that flow going that, we talked about getting people from YouTube over to school, right? From school, get the conversations going, or from Instagram and then over to YouTube and school, just like that journey just made it very, very seamless. And again, very more genuine as well for those who are interested in what I have to offer.
Yeah, because right now I think you mentioned it. We're gonna take a look at school. You mentioned that literally most of the traffic is coming from YouTube, right? Like,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
cool. Because I mean, this first video, it's still going, right? It's at like 130,000. It's crazy. So essentially, from there, they're getting in here, which we're using this as the main sort of central hub for the program. And this is the sort of like the icing on the cake with the levels and everything. Walk us through a bit of this because what you have, like, even now at a first glance, I know we worked on this together. This looks so, I guarantee nobody in the space, and I bet you got this feedback, right? Like, nobody in the space is kind of doing this, especially with Muslims, right?
Every time that someone first joins the community and they get started off with the level one, they're like, this is amazing, right? Like, I like what I'm seeing here. A lot of the people that, join and go with forward that mentorship, this isn't their first, program that they're
Yeah.
going to. They've tried other things before. They've been on other school community. They paid for some courses as well. But just the structure, right? Taking it step by step at a time. Like, for example, level one, we talk only about mindset, really. That what does it mean to be a Muslim entrepreneur? How is that different from being a regular Joe entrepreneur? Because again, just tying in the aspects of faith with business is a big thing that we want to promote. There's thousands of ways that you can have a successful agency, but not many ways you can have a successful and halal agency. So this is what I'm trying to promote throughout my entire level system here, even with the conversations I have going on. And the level system is really what gave people clarity. And before, this community, like I said, I had a school community. But what it was, they get on and boom, 6 videos, right? 8 videos, 10
Yeah.
videos. People got overwhelmed. They didn't know, and they were binging it like they're watching a Netflix show. That's not what I intended it to be, nor is that going to help them. But the fact that I'm able to control individually where their progress is like, I'm able to judge, okay, how serious is this person, right? That he's going progressive from level one to level two. Is this someone worth me putting in my time and effort into giving them extra value? Pitching them the mentorship program, and really, it is all thanks to the level system that you have me built out.
Amazing. And I mean, look, you're doing this is to your merit. You're doing an amazing job with this, even now, just looking at the previews. But this is amazing. I just want to highlight because now we're at a point where every couple of days you get like a client in, right? Which is literally with little to no effort. Like you don't have to convince people because that was my entire thing. It's like let's build the ecosystem so you don't have to walk. You don't have to like obsess over trying to convince someone to get in. Walk me through what's. I want to dive into the website that you have as well because our entire model is all about being super transparent and as detailed as possible in terms of what they're getting in the program, right? So we don't have to do the convincing. Walk me through the journey. Once I'm on school, the typical client journey for you right now, what is it? Do I get on the classroom? Do I get in the levels and then I message you or what's the journey?
That's it, right? It's a very controlled environment, which is beneficial for both parties here. Myself including as someone who is looking out, seeing the lead quality that are coming in, and also for those who are wanting to get value is so right off the bat, they start with level one, right? Level one, only thing we're touching upon is mindset, what we want to do, the traits of a Muslim agency owner. I introduced my specific unique model that's helped me progress in my agency and be as successful as I am. At the end of the level, they know exactly what to expect throughout this journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they have to take some action items. This is what I call them. So they must post an intention as to why they're doing this, how they want to go about it, and they got to message me, right? So in the message, in the inboxes, that's where I start going back and forth, asking them what situation they're coming from, how they're having it, full-time job or not, any issues they're facing over there, because something I can understand of where we can use them to progress through this journey. So after level one, I even give them access to level two, right? Which would maybe a little bit much on the free side of things, but this is something I got from you is just, give as much as you can. And eventually they themselves are gonna want to go ahead with it. So we get a little bit more technical on this side, right? We talked about branding, we talk about agency website. I give them a whole template I built out so they can have their own agency website ready in a matter of a couple hours. All that is there, right? And then after level two is that's when a little bit of the selling starts. But again, it's very minimal compared to what I was used to. So here, again, they share their post, their name, niche, everything like that. And then when they message me, they're like, "Hey, bro, I love this. Let's get on to level three."
Yeah.
That's where I hit them with my program. That's where I hit them with the mentorship. And really, it's been crazy. Like the amount of people who have like no questions at all. They're like, "Hey, listen, if I've gotten this far already, I like what I'm seeing. It's working for me. Why not just go all the way?" And really, from level three onwards, they get mentorship, they get, one-on-one guidance, they get access to the rest of the program, and then everything just smooth sailing for them and for me as well. Just very simple messaging back and forth, and that's more than enough to get a sale.
And it does feel like the natural like next step for them to take, right? In this journey. Like it doesn't feel like a forced sort of upsell.
100%, 100%, right? Because they've already trusted. That's the biggest thing is building that trust, right? A lot of people, especially nowadays, that the common understanding is of these gurus out there is this legit or not? Is this a scam? Am I gonna get what I'm paying for? Is it worth the investment? So with the community, I'm able to give them that trust, build that credibility that look, I'm doing this myself.
Mhm.
This is what the program is going through. And if you are putting in the time and effort to finish those two levels, you might as well go all the way because it's clearly something you want. It's you're interested in as well. And we're going with our back and forwards too. So that 100%, right? Seamless, it just natural progression to take that next step and actually make the investment.
Yeah, I love that. And again, this, like my background is in branding. I'm big on the branding aspect and essentially positioning whatever we're doing in a really like premium way, so we get that reaction from people like I've never seen this before, like what is this, right? In terms of the ecosystem, let's quickly dive into your website as well. I know you made some changes to it recently. It looks fire.
Yeah.
Walk me through the this importance of like addressing the pain points that people are going through and literally like painting the picture of this is your current state right now, this is your desired state, and this is my unique mechanism with the three phases, because this is our core thing, right? Like we have three core phases. Yeah, walk me through that, like because I know even if I scroll in here, right, at a first glance, like you got a lot of, you got a lot of copy, you got a lot of images, a lot of content. Now, a lot of, I'm not going to drop any names, but a lot of copywriters and people in this space are like, just keep it simple, keep a simple VSL and not too much copy. But what's the kind of like the reasoning behind this? Obviously, I know the answer, right? Like the answer is like we want to provide as much context for people so that
Exactly.
we can sell without selling, essentially. But yeah, what's kind of like the framework here for the website?
Yeah, for me, it's really like, listen, hey, I want to make this as an easy decision as it possibly is for people who are interested in my program, right? So, and the way I can do that is with all these channels we've got going on. So I don't even end up sharing my website to them until I know like these guys are actually serious about it. So by the time they get to the website, there's no question. They trust who I am. They know this is something that can work and just a little bit of information that they may want, such as pricing. Will it work for me or not? Can I afford it? What's the best way to go about it? What type of results can I get out of it? This is where they get it, right? And if anyone goes and actually reads it from top to bottom, I have no doubt that they're ready to go, right? But if someone just scrolls in and they're like, okay, let me just get to the price, let me just figure out how much it is and see if I'll make the investment or not, then I don't even expect them to go ahead with it, right? Because if you're not willing to put in the bit of time to understand what you're getting into, what's expected from you, and what the outcome can look like, for me, it's not even something I want to work with. This is something that I've realized, right? You do want to work with specific people who are worth your time and value, and that's something really I understood with all these channels that we've got going on, the type of content we're putting out. It just makes, like you said, right, selling without really selling anything.
Yeah, because I think, look, you can make this mistake as a coach and as a mentor, as a guide to try and help everyone. But my biggest thing is let's focus on those actual people that are ready to take action. Because when you provide, especially with you, the amount of value and systems that you provide to them, like you have some done for you things as well, helping people with pitches. I think if you genuinely focus on only like that percentage of people that are ready to put in the work, the results are going to be so much better. Everything is just going to flow better, right? Instead of like trying to help every single person. Because look, the entire thing, I don't want anyone to be like, yeah, like 100% of the people that join the school join the mentorship, right? Because it's not about that, but it's essentially
Right.
bringing the right ICP in here for them to, what I love about, and it brings me back to, and I want to quickly touch on that, our first conversation. What I love about this sort of way of quote unquote selling, because it's not really that aggressive, hard selling, trying to give people a crazy guarantee and stuff like that. What I love about this is that it feels organic. It feels like human, right? Because obviously in this space, it's so crazy now with like ads and everyone running this sort of like crazy funnel and trying to shove a guarantee down people's throat, like join now, join now. But again, for you, this whole mechanism is literally just providing value, getting people in the ecosystem, and then from there, for those right people, it feels supernatural, like second nature to take the next step.
100%, Andre. And I'll double down on that actually. It's like I said, objections is something we face in sales all the time, no matter what type of business model you have. I mean, you could be selling a $20 PDF and still get objections, right?
Mhm.
But if it's for the right person and if we are targeting in the right manner, have the right messaging, which we're doing a really good job on now, it's just natural, right? And it's really a matter of, hey, are you ready? Yeah, I am. Let's go. Send the payment link. It's as simple as that, and that's what I wanted, right? I'm not trying to hard sell. I've never pressured anyone. Like, I mean, I've had people who are so serious about it, and they tell me their situation that, bro, I'm ready, but I'm having hard times even paying rent, for example, or like, I've got some money tied up here. I'll tell them, bro, don't do it, right? I don't want to them to in that position, right? So it's just attracting the right people is one thing as well, but I don't want to sell. For me, it's listen, if this is what you're seeing right now is there, I'll answer any questions that you may have, but if it comes down to it and you're ready, here you go. I don't do sales calls anymore. I'm not gonna pressure anyone. I'm not gonna follow up with them in the sense like, hey, bro, I know you said you're not ready yet. How about now? Let me give you this other guarantee. Everything is there. It's just a matter of if they're serious or not, they'll make it happen.
I love that, and again, I do believe the just the human way of doing it, and just it's gonna work the best, like long term. Because I told you once, I'm gonna say it again. You're gonna become like, you have to, the entire goal, and this is what I want to touch on to kind of like wrap it up. The entire goal for you is to remove yourself right from the agency work, because I know you're kind of running the entire operation right now. You're obviously, you're not running everything yourself, but you wanna. The goal is to remove yourself from that and to essentially have more time to spend with your family, right? So, what's the do you have like a number in mind that you're going to be like, okay, I make this much per month and then I'm going to remove myself from it? Or is it more like a, let's see how it goes over the next couple of months and I'm slowly going to, I know you're already hiring like project managers and stuff, but yeah, do you have a target? Like, is it a 20K a month or like 30K or?
Honestly, it's just because for me, man, it's really time is a big thing for me, right? Going back to that, being a father, I got two kids, like my oldest son, he's turning 3 soon. So, I really this is the time when you can actually want to give back to them. And I really do feel that the coaching side is what's gonna help me get there to give them the more time that I actually want while not having to worry about, hey, I have to, get onto the agency. I have to make sure that this client, his website, he doesn't like the color of it. Let me get on and change those small little things. That shouldn't be my main concern at this point. And so, really, it is about building up a team and having it ready there in the sense that everything is running smoothly on its end. So I can focus my full time and energy onto the coaching side, which I do really love, right? I love both things. Not gonna lie, the coaching side is more so for me because I just get to meet people on a one-to-one level, like a human level, like you mentioned. And but in terms of a goal, like when can I expect it to? Yeah, honestly, brother, I think if we could hit, I think I previously probably told you 20, but let's just make it 30 now because I can see it
30.
happening in the next, while, God willing. So I think when we hit that 30K mark with the coaching, I think you can see me not having to complain about it ever again.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's funny to me because we were talking about this idea of a soulmate client and attracting clients like yourself, right? And or like that resonate with your sort of mindset, and that's a big thing for me. And I was the same. I also had an agency, not as big as you are running, right? But I completely get where you're coming from with this idea of I would much rather have conversations with people like one on one and help them get amazing results than just being locked in an office and just working on a technical thing. So I do like 1000% resonate. It's the reason why I transitioned from and ecom and the agency side to the consulting side because I think it's also important for people to understand that this needs to fulfill you, right? Like a big thing that we're doing inside Unlock Creators is obviously like making sure whatever we're building, because everyone is different, but whatever we're building needs to resonate with your sort of like objective in life, right? So obviously for you, it's not to like make millions just for the sake of making millions. It's to your point, like time being time with family. I think that it's a huge thing. Um,
Big thing, yeah.
so yeah, I mean, look, before we wrap it up, give me one, just the sort of like the biggest or most impactful thing that you got from us working together one on one. Was it like a mindset thing or a strategy thing? Obviously, we're kind of like combining all of this. But yeah, just give me the if you got it right now on the spot, like.
Yeah, really, man. The first thing that pops out to me, like I said, I had something going before. It just wasn't working as well as its potential as that I'd like to. I've been a grinder my whole life, right? Without college, I was able to build a successful business. So when it comes to putting in the work, I have no problem in. But
Mhm.
how do I put in the work? Where should I be putting in my time and effort into? That's what comes with strategy. I think that's the biggest thing that I got from Unlock Creators was understanding how do we want to build out a ecosystem in a way where it takes our clients from A to B to C to D without me having to, have thousands of things going on, having sales calls, handling objections, giving fake guarantees, flexing on social media. Like none of that really matters. The strategy was huge, and I think one thing that will always stick with me on that I got from you and the community is give value, right? If I had this mindset previously, I'm not gonna lie that if I give everything, then what am I gonna charge for? And I found myself holding back on that. But the more and more I get into content and YouTube, even videos, right? Even on like these reels that we make on Instagram, it's just about giving, right? The more you give, the more trust you can build with other people. And then when people come to you, they're ready, right? That's what we want, right? And just getting back to selling without selling only happens if you're giving enough value to people where they're ready to commit and just start right away. No objections, no sales call. And that's my biggest takeaway from all this.
Love that. So ecosystem to kind of like put it into a big words, which is super, super huge. So look,
Yeah.
again, it's literally just the beginning. You mentioned 20, 20, 30,000 a month. I'm even gonna add that to raise that to even 40 and 50 because it's just a matter of once everything is already in motion, we're obviously going to run a workshop really soon. We might have to do another like interview after that to kind of like walk people through the strategy, but
Right.
everything is in motion. And right now, brother, it's just about having faith, obviously, taking action, and just essentially providing amazing results for people, so that then we can like incorporate the spiritual side as well and just build the most, premium brand in the Muslim niche, at least, so yeah, it's been a great journey so far, and the rest of the year is going to be awesome. So
Looking forward to it, man. And yeah, I tell you this every time, man. Thank you so much for everything you've done. The time commitment you're giving to, I'm sure, not just me, everyone else in the community as well, is huge, right? Because that's what we want, right? We have the knowledge, we have the skills. It's just about how to make it work for our program, for our community. Your expertise on that has been amazing for me, and hoping to get more out of you on that.
you will, brother. Thank you. Thank you, and let's continue to crush it.
Let's do it, Andre. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, brother.